Megan Hicks of I Run Far. I'm with Hayden Hawks. It's the day after the 2024 Western States Endurance Run. Congratulations on your third place finish.
Thank you. Yeah. Feel really happy about it, especially not knowing if I was going to be here a few weeks ago. And yeah, to able to come out with a podium finish, couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, so to backtrack just a teensy bit, you had a great race at Black Canyon 100K in February, but I learned recently you got injured after that. What happened?
Yeah. I strained my calf pretty bad after Black Canyon, and that led to some compensation injuries. And so yeah, I had to take off a significant period of time, just of like, I was trying to train, but it was not happening, probably like 6 to 8 weeks. And yeah, I think it was 10 weeks ago, I finally started feeling somewhat healthy. But I knew that I would have to have like 2 weeks of build up and then maybe have an 8-week training block. Yeah. And I talked to my coach about it and said, you think we can do it? Like, you think I can get fit enough to at least, compete? Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I think we can. And we did the best we could. It was a very compact block. Yeah. But yeah, I was able to do what I needed to do to get a podium yesterday.
You said in your pre-race interview that there's something that you're learning through time and with more experience in ultra running, that you just don't need the crazy volume or like just the grinding super hard workouts every day. I feel like this performance is like a categorical example of like practicing what you preach there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Black Canyon was the first, I guess, example of that I didn't need as much, maybe as long of a block of training as I thought I did. Yeah. I would have liked a little bit more. Like, I would have liked some base, because I felt like I was just rushing to get fitness, and to be able to have a little bit of base would have been nice. But I think like during that base phase, I could have just kept it really easy. While in the past, like I was doing these long, like 16, 20 week training blocks of just pretty good intensity, like workouts, big long runs, different things like that. And now I'm realizing that like I can just kind of like maintain during these periods of time, build some base, and then actually have like a 8 to 10 week block, and that's really all I need. And I come into the race fresh, healthy, ready to go.
So let's talk a little bit about how yesterday went. It was, from the outside looking in, just continuously dynamic, start to finish. Is that how it also felt to be in the race?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it was awesome to like see like this whole race going on, because like I think me and Jim were just talking about this, is like we've never had that many people so close together.
Like so late in a race.
Yeah, so late in the race. And like I think it was at like Devil's Thumb. I remember me and Jim were at the top of the climb, and I looked down and there were like 6 of us on the climb. And like I've never seen that many people at once on that climb. And then like I went into, I think it was Michigan Bluff or Forest Hill, and there was a part where I felt like the race was maybe getting away from me. But then I went in and there were like, there's 6 guys within 5 minutes of each other. And I was like, really? Like
the race has not gone away at all.
No, like we're only halfway, like there's plenty of movement that can still go on. And so I just kept fighting, kept positive, kept, staying on top of everything I needed to. And yeah, I started catching some people, and it worked out pretty well. You
said off camera that your low patch came sort of in the vicinity of like Michigan Bluff, Forest Hill, and then you're able to get yourself back together after that. Could you walk us through that part? Yeah,
it actually came a little before that, like Devil's Thumb. Me, Jim, and Dan Jones went down together into Devil's Thumb, and then we were climbing up, and Jim put in a big push, coming. I think Dakota had caught us at the bottom of the climb too, or the bottom of the descent, and he put a pretty big push in, and I was like, I can climb with Jim. Like I've trained with him before. I know I can do this. But I think like my climbing hasn't been quite where it needs to be, just because maybe I didn't have as long of a block or the training I needed to. But yeah, I went with Jim, but then he broke me near the top, and I felt like I maybe pushed that a little too hard. Because the descent going down into El Dorado, I was feeling it pretty good. But like Dakota and Rod Farvard passed me going down into El Dorado, and they were like, "Are you okay?" And I said, yeah, I'm just trying to regroup. Like I just needed some time to regroup. And I think that was smart. Like the past me maybe would have tried to push that, but I just kind of like regrouped, refueled, and started feeling good coming out of El Dorado, and then just kept progressing after that.
When you said that you know, somewhere in one of those two sort of bigger aid stations, you felt like, oh, is the race getting away from me? But then there's a bunch of guys there, and it occurred to you the race is like right around you. Did it feel like, yeah, I don't know, going down Cal Street at the river, like, did you feel like, okay, I'm back in it now, like I'm here to race?
Yeah, I started feeling really good coming down Cal Street. I had an amazing crew stop at Forest Hill. Things went really well. I was able to take care of myself like I needed to. And yeah, I started feeling really good. And I saw like Dan was pretty close behind me. I could see him. And I knew John Albin was really close too. And like, I've raced John before. He's an incredible descender. So I was a little like nervous.
What's going to happen here?
I was like, oh, John's probably going to catch me on this downhill.
You have your training partner behind you.
Yeah,
John Albin behind you.
Exactly. But then I could see Dakota. He wasn't too far ahead of me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just like, just try and work on catching one at a time. I caught Dakota. I actually was able to get past him pretty quickly. We actually talked, and I was like, dude, come with me. Come on, let's go. Because I knew if we worked together, we would be able to be stronger. But I think he was feeling it quite a bit. And yeah, I had a really good descent down to the river, and then I just kind of like kept going like from there. I think from the river to the finish, I ran it in 3 hours and 10 minutes, which to my knowledge is one of the fastest times ever from the river to the finish, if not the fastest. And so I felt really strong through that section. Maybe that was because I was hunting. I was trying to catch Rod, you know, and that definitely motivated me.
Well, side note for a minute, isn't ultra running weird of like how bad you can feel for a certain set of real estate and then how you can come back? Like, it's just, this part of running is so unique how the tables can turn so completely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because like, I think it was right going into Forest Hill, I was like, my quads are pretty trashed. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel on this downhill, you know, going down Cal Street. But then all of a sudden the legs came back and I started like moving really well and descending really fast. And I was like, wow, okay, that's weird. Like,
here we
the
go.
body just completely changed, you know, and it was great. Yeah, and I was able to finish really strong, which I was really happy about.
You finished so strong. I mean, let's talk about that right now. You, I think, cut, what was it? You cut 10 minutes into Rod Farvard, second place Rod Farvard's time between Green Gate and the finish, and got, was it 16 seconds from him ultimately at the finish line? To what degree were you hunting? Were you hunting hard? Yeah,
I was hunting till Pointed Rocks because I kept hearing he was not too far ahead. And then, and I think Hal Corner actually gave me maybe some misinformation at his aid station. He said he was like 2 minutes ahead, and I was like, wow, let's go. Like, he's only 2 minutes ahead. But I think it was a lot bigger than that. I think he was trying to motivate me. But then I went into Pointed Rocks, and I heard that he had a pretty good lead. And I kind of, at that point, I asked my crew, I said, well, how far is Dan? Because I knew Dan was behind me. I said, like, how far back is he? And he was only like maybe 3 or 4 minutes behind me. And I was like, oh, I got to go.
So you were started worried about Dan rather than Rod.
Yeah, like I wasn't even worried about Rod. I just wanted to secure the podium. I wanted to secure that third place position. So I was like, I'm going to push from Pointed Rocks to the finish so I can secure and not let Dan pass me. But in like, I ended up catching Rod.
Yeah, you totally bridged that gap.
Yeah.
At Roby Point, I mean, Rod told us that he looked back and saw like the white clad crew of Hayden Hawks coming, and he just felt the fear of God, basically. Well,
we were at the bottom of the Roby Point. I asked the guy, I said, how far is he? And he's like, oh, he's gone. You don't need to worry about him.
You're not getting good data from anybody, are you?
Like, I thought I was closer. And then I got to the top of Roby Point, I looked and I saw him. And I was like, oh, he's there. And I was like, well, I got to try.
Yeah.
And so I just started hammering, and like, I had my crew around me, and like they were like encouraging me, and we were just pushing. And I kind of told everybody, I was like, shh, be quiet, because he hadn't heard me. He didn't know I was there. And then like, I think Tim Tollefson turned around, who was pacing him, and he was like, oh, you gotta go. And I saw him pick it up, and I was like, oh shoot, that might have been it, you know. But I still was gonna try my hardest, and yeah, it ended up becoming a sprint on the track, which was awesome. You
got to use like your high school and collegiate racing background.
The Olympic trials are going on in Oregon right now. Maybe I should have been there. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was fun. It was like, I was just like, there's no better way to finish, especially with Rod. Like, me and Rod did training camp together. We're really good friends. At training camp, actually, me and Rod turned to each other after, I think, the long day. and we said, this is going to be our year. And when we finished and we, we embraced, Rod turned to me and he said, it was our year. We called this. And I was like, we sure did, man. Like, way to go. So,
I mean, you got like a teensy bit of heat before the race in your interview with the Single Track podcast for saying, like, we're really good friends with people when we train, but then on race day we're racing. But I think like what yesterday showed is that like when you have that personal rapport with the people who are around you, Dan Jones behind you, your training partner, you've trained with Rod Farvard in front of you, it allows, knowing the people around you actually allows all of you to elevate yourselves.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about there's no greater respect you can give to somebody than to push them and to make them better. And so that's what we're trying to do is we're friends. Like, we're super good friends, and we talk to each other all the time. I've actually helped Rod with his nutrition, which then he beats me with that. No.
Thanks, Rod.
No, but we've talked about this all the time, is like, we're super good friends, outside of racing, but when we're racing, we want to get the best out of each other, and that's the ultimate form of friendship and respect that we can give. And that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to grow this sport, elevate this sport. We wanted to put on a show for people, and I feel like we did.
A big picture question, like zooming out the sport of trail ultra running a little bit. You've been a part of this for like over a decade now. You've seen like things evolving in front of your eyes. In my mind, yesterday, a 100-mile race ran like a 50-mile race, like the North Face Endurance Challenge circa 2015, something like that. What's your synthesis of like where the sport has been, where it is now, and where we think it's going?
Yeah, I mean, isn't it awesome?
Yeah.
Like, I love it, man. I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I think the sport's only going to grow and elevate. Like, I think a lot of brands, Hoka's my sponsor, of course, they are really supporting us as athletes, and they're really trying to help grow the sport and build the sport, and which helps a lot, for us to get that support and have that help to be able to be full-time professional athletes. And that's only going to grow the sport even more. I think there's a lot of excitement around the sport. I think, you guys, the media is doing a great job at covering the sport, which I can't thank you enough for that. And
you guys are the ones who make the story.
No,
we're just there capturing it.
But it all helps, and I think that like it's just an exciting time for the sport right now, and I'm really happy that I'm in the middle of it, and I'm trying to help pioneer it and be a good advocate for it, and just try to be a good person and grow the sport as much as possible.
Final question for you before you go to the awards ceremony to collect that silver buckle. Finishing in the top 10 position affords you with an automatic entry to come back next year. Your sponsor, Hoka, just announced it's continuing its presenting sponsorship of Western States. Are we gonna see you again on next year's starting line, or do we, like sometime in the future, do you hope to be here again?
I'll be back next year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I already made
it's
that
already
decision.
Done.
I mean, I ran 14:24 yesterday, which on most years that would win, and like I finished third, which I'm happy with. But I'm not completely content. Like, I would still want that first place, I'm still gonna fight for it. Like, I've been second, I've been third, so I just got to get that last podium spot. And I love this race. I love the community. I love having my friends and family here. And I'm definitely going to come back and have another good year.
Awesome. Congratulations to you on your third place finish at the 2024 Western States Endurance Run. We look forward to seeing you chase that cougar next year.
Thank you.